Hey, 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 welcome into another Ducks post-game show. I am your host, Todd Fox, along with the one, the only, from the Catella Chronicles, Dominic Lorenz.
What's up? What a night. Holy crap. This is fun.
Yeah,
This is
it,
fun.
it is fun, my friend. Dude, is this like the third or fourth time they've scored 7 goals?
Absolutely insanity.
Yes. Ducks now 9-3-1 in 13 games as they pick up 2 more points and continue to lead the Pacific Division. And right when we think, okay, the scoring's got to come down a little bit, we were mentioning off air, bro. Like, tell us how you were feeling in that first period.
No, a very tough first period for the Ducks. They get outshot 8-7, but Dallas is a high quality team. And we talked about this on the podcast earlier this week. I talked about it with Zach when we were at the game on Tuesday against Florida. The rest of the month of November is a gauntlet schedule for the Ducks. You got Dallas, you have Vegas twice, you have the Kings, you have Winnipeg, Colorado, Detroit, you name it, they have them. And Dallas, who is a perennial Stanley Cup threat, they've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 consecutive years. They know what it takes to get deep into the postseason. They are a power play scoring machine. Tonight within itself, if I look at the breakdown as I have it here for a moment, Dallas was absolutely unheard of on the power play. 3 for 5, while the Ducks were 2 for 5. So both teams very good with the extra man. But both of those goals to begin the game for Dallas, power play goals. So you're sitting there and saying, okay, second-hand unit, maybe doesn't have enough juice in it tonight. First game of a mini 2-game road trip. And the Ducks find a way to fight back, make those necessary adjustments. Typically, the second period is a terrorizing period for the opposition against us. We flipped the script tonight, and it was perfect. Absolutely spot on.
Dude, they were very aggressive tonight. They were pushing the puck in there. Nice, crisp passes. I'm going to talk about my boy Terry because even when he's not getting assists, man, his passes are on the money. And so you're having good passing. Again, the only thing I could take out of this as a negative tonight, I think you felt the same way. The power play defense wasn't all that great. Too many second chance, third chance opportunities for the Stars. And also the penalties. We were maybe I jinxed it or you jinxed it when we were talking about, hey, this team isn't taking stupid penalties. All of a sudden,
okay.
yeah. All of a sudden, there's elbowing. There's slashing. It's like, come on, guys. Like
Yeah.
you're playing so good.
Tonight wasn't, but luckily, for as, not as great as we've been on the power play and taking penalties, Dallas was kind of the same way. Both teams had 10 penalty minutes tonight. Both teams had 5 power play opportunities. Both teams did relatively well. Both teams were just one separation on the shots on goal. 26 for Dallas, 25 for the Ducks. So in a night where the Ducks were not at their best in terms of some of the smaller, minute details that we've seen through the first, 11, 12 games now of the season, Dallas kind of was even in that sense. So it didn't feel as bad as it could have been, which if you're the Ducks, hell, you're going to take that all day long. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you want to be able to show up against a team like this, kind of measure how you guys have been playing. And I thought offensively they answered the call, dude. They were playing great hockey all night. Just the passing, the scoring, the hitting, even again, we talked about it before, sticking up for one another. I mean, they have taken Cicerelli's coaching and they bought into the culture, basically. Sorry.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And Zach and I talked about this when we were sitting together at the game on Tuesday when the Ducks scored 7 against Florida, who are Stanley Cup champions.
Yep.
How much longer can we expect this high octane offense, right? At some point, you're saying, going into that New Jersey game on Sunday, they were 7th best in the NHL in goals scored a game, right? They take down the team that was number 1, who had the most goals on average per game. You then take 4 goals against New Jersey, 7 goals Tuesday, 7 goals tonight. The Ducks have scored 18 goals in 3 games, averaging 6 a night. And you're getting it from some new people, some guys that are basically rinse, repeat, do it again. One of the best stats tonight, 2 of the best stats. I'll say one now and I'll save one for later. Our boy Cutter Gauthier, who had the hat trick on Tuesday, gets a goal here tonight. With his rampant pace that he has been scoring goals, he is now tied for the NHL lead in goals scored this year with 11, tied with Pittsburgh's Sidney Crosby.
Dude, that's
Huge.
awesome. So anytime you can measure one of our guys against a legend, that's
Yeah.
freaking amazing. Now, I know Carlson. What did he do tonight? He's been your boy. You've been touting this guy all season, my man.
Uncle Leo, baby. After everything that happened on Tuesday night, and I'll give you props for doing the post-game show solo again, getting out of Honda Center. It's crazy, but you held the fort down beautifully. Trust me, my voice was gone.
Yeah, I heard
it. It was such a crazy, like the post I put out wasn't my best. No, but it was worth it. Like being at that environment was so great.
Trust me, those are watching. You know, Dominique, he's a very passionate fan of all his teams. But man, he yelling because I just kept getting comment after comment, like, bro, I'm so pumped up right now. I lost my voice. I'm yelling and the hat trick. You know, you were having a great time through two periods, man.
And our buddy Zach was the same way. Like again, to tie it in, when Leo Carlson was ejected from that game with a 5-minute game misconduct, which that call was still absolutely bullshit. If the league fines him or suspends him for whatever reason, that's just bullshit all the way through.
Yeah.
Leo was on a different level. And we talked about him in the podcast this week, how far he's come along in such a short time since being drafted by the Ducks. And again,
yes,
were we surprised on draft day when the Ducks drafted Leo Carlson? For a moment we were, because that wasn't what we thought was going to happen. But he has seamlessly, I cannot say that enough, seamlessly found his way into this lineup, not by luck, not by chance, pure talent, pure aggression, and the best thing of all, pure ease. He is making it look so easy out there. And tonight's big stat with Leo Carlson's goal tonight, which was fantastic. He ties for a Ducks franchise record, ties Teemu Selanne, 13 games played, which Timo did it in 1995, the 95-96 season.
Yep.
For the fewest games in Ducks history to begin a year to get 20 points. It took Teemu 13. It only took Carlson, was it 12 games now? Was it?
No, it's 13. It's tied it.
13 now. Yeah, 9-3-1. So he ties the record, matching Teemu Selanne. When you can match Teemu Selanne, any of the greats, Selanne, Getzlaf, Niedermeyer, Correa, Perry, when you start getting into that category, you know you're doing something right. And he is not only doing something right, he is going batshit crazy. He and Cutter Gauthier right now are going batshit crazy.
Well, you know what's crazy about all these young kids that we got on this squad? It's funny because a friend of mine was like, okay, so where do you see the Ducks right now? Like, are these you know? And the only word that came to my mind is I don't want to call them kids. I don't want to call them rookies because we all know they're a young ass team. But the only word that came to my mind is they're ready. Basically ready. They're ready for the big lights, the big show, and they're out there. They're doing their thing. And I just think that this coaching staff is getting the very best out of these players. And the only thing that they're going to gain as they continue, besides, you know, the experience and whatnot of the NHL, their confidence is going through the roof. And so they know if they have a bad game, 100%. Hey, we've done this before. We could score. We could, you know, we're down 2 goals, like you said, 2 goals down early. You know, we were thinking that, like you said, I was thinking, okay, this is a game where they come back down to earth. You know, they've been on such a high. They won't be able to come back against a really good Dallas team. You know, it's okay. It's all right. They're allowed a stinker, right? And maybe a 4-1 loss or something like that. But no, the Ducks were just like, hey, 2 goals. All right, we got you. It's crazy, right?
It's absolutely nuts. And I've been saying this, and we've talked about it. Zach and I, all 3 of us have talked about it. Every single player has bought into Joe Quenneville. There's absolutely no question. Is Joe Quenneville the guy? Like,
I keep calling him Cicerelli. My bad.
No, you're good. It's Joe. You know, Joe Q has basically been a no bullshit kind of coach. That's how he's been in his career. Yes, I know he had, you know, the issues in Chicago at the tail end that basically knocked him out of the NHL for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I disregard that and completely forget about it, because it's still an important thing that happened just with him in hockey, in society, I totally get it. Not discrediting that, but talking about what's going on the ice at practice and in just everything with the playing. He is the perfect guy for this team, and he is showing why he has been such a successful coach in his career. He gets the best out of his players. People buy into that system, and you have leaders on the team that are leading. You have the young guys who need to lead when they need to, and this has been one of the best starts to a season in a very long time. I can't say, in franchise history because, I was born in 95. The franchise was here in 93. So I can't talk about the first 2 years but this has been so needed. And I feel we haven't really had a start to a season like this. Even looking back to when we had, again, Perry, Getzlaf, Solani, Boschman, that late 2000s, early 2010s, I'd have to really take a deep dive and see when was the last time we got off to such a great 13-game start, because it's huge. It's massive.
And thank you, Boston Bruins, right there, for the love and everything else like that. Jesus, and this is what I just want to touch on a couple things. And I hear what you say, and that's why the coaching staff has done a great job. But Jesus was pretty much echoing what I thought. I thought Mazarek,
Yeah.
Mrazek. I'll get
Mrazek.
it right when you say Mrazek. All right, there you go. 4th time's the charm. I thought, and you thought, he was going to get to start tonight, and we were going to go with Dostal against the what's it called
on Saturday?
Yeah, Golden Knights. Now it kind of looks like it's the reverse, right? You'd almost, because this will be his 6th start in a row if he goes against the Golden Knights.
Correct. And I know a lot of people would say, okay, he gave up 5 goals again tonight. That's be neutral. No, I don't want to say neutral. Let's be open-minded here for a second. Realistic and open-minded, for example. Through 2.5 periods, let's say, because that second period was completely dominated by the Ducks, with the exception of Dallas going on a little run and picking up that lone goal in the second period. Mm-hmm. 3 of the 5 Dallas goals were on the power play, right? And their last goal in the third, they pulled their netminder and had an advantage. So even though it wasn't a power play goal, it was 6-on-5 because they pulled their netminder. So really, in a way, 4 of the 5 Dallas goals tonight, they had the extra man on the ice. Can you fault Dostal for that? No, the Ducks took some bad penalties tonight. So he's trying to operate in a different mindset with 1 less man on the ice. Again, your job as a goalie, to be as objective as possible, is to not let any pucks through. Out of the 4 goals for Dallas, out of their 5 that were scored with the extra man, I'll be honest, they were pretty nifty. Dallas, again, is a quality team, Stanley Cup caliber team in the Western Conference, and they held no punches. They played no bullshit. This was a hard-fought game that the Ducks had to earn at a certain point. So could you say Dostal's tired? Could you say this? Could you say that? Maybe. I think best case scenario, Ducks are going to roll with Dostal when you have the hot hand, right?
Yeah, you should.
I think they're going to roll with Dostal Saturday. I wouldn't be shocked if Mrazek gets the back-to-back and gets Winnipeg Sunday and the Colorado game on Tuesday. He gets one of each. I could see that, because then basically Dostal plays Saturday. The next game would be against Detroit next Thursday, where he did well, only gave up 2 goals against Detroit last week in the 5-2 win. So I could see that. But I think in with the team being on such a high right now and on such a 5-game winning streak, you don't want to mess with what you have. And especially if it was, I would say, if it was anybody other than Vegas, if it was flipped, if it was at Winnipeg Saturday and home against Vegas Sunday, Mrazek Saturday, Dostal. I think if you want to be the best in the Pacific, you got to beat the best. And you got to beat the best with your best. And Dostal is the best. Vegas is playing right now against Tampa Bay. I'll check in on the score. They don't play tomorrow like us. So whoever started for Vegas tonight is probably going to start on Saturday. And if it's probably their top netminder, it'll probably be their top netminder. Go a mono versus a mono and see what you got.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, because that's what I was banking on anyway. But, much needed rest he might need it, with the way he's been playing. But man, I tell you this right now, the Ducks, they just look fantastic. I want you to go through the goal scoring here in a second. But one other thing I gotta say, bring up with the fact that there was, with those, there's a couple plays that I thought Dostal is, like you were saying in the preseason or before the season started, that Dostal is kind of weak stick side, and he
Yeah.
showed that tonight. Although
Yeah.
there was, like you said, the odd man rushes or the extra man advantage every time that they scored, his stick side was not that great, dude. I felt a couple of those goals were weak, you know, but
Yeah. And it's hard again. I will say tonight the Ducks did a great job, even strength. They only gave up the one goal. The
yeah,
defense was pretty good. They got the puck out, but Dallas did a really, really good job of protecting their blue line, keeping
hmm
pucks in, and especially on defense as well. It took the Ducks a couple of chances to get through that blue paint while they were on a power play within themselves or even an even strength. So again, tit for tat in that kind of game. It's not going to be perfect
yeah,
24/7, but you're going to have to get the job done. And sidebar, Vegas, Tampa Bay in Vegas right now, tied up at 2, and Vegas has their number 2 goaltender in tonight, which means Vegas definitely will have their number 1 goaltender in Akaria Schmid in net Saturday night against the Ducks, who has 6 wins in 7 games, 1 shutout, and a 2.31 goals against.
nice.
So
All
you're
right,
gonna have a tough netminder. So for me, if you're gonna live by Dostal, you got to die by Dostal.
that's true.
And I
That's
think
true.
if you're winning 5 in a row, morale is very high. And I'm sure if you're Dostal, I want to be back out there. Let me go. You're feeling it a little bit.
I just don't want to overwork the dude, but
I
real
get
quick,
it.
Big Red says living in Dallas. Thank God we beat the Stars. I real quick before you get into the goal scoring, I have one more thing to share about
Yes.
you. To you, I was watching the Dallas feed, and those guys. It was hilarious. They kept saying, "Oh, Dallas has got a really good squad. They're going to come back. They have a 5 points game streak. They're playing really good, but they got to watch these Ducks. They're scrappy."
Mm-hmm.
And but when the Ducks kept scoring, they're like, "Okay, you got to stop them at some point. I don't think they're this good." And then they were like, "Man, they're scoring at will. How do we stop this team?" And it was funny to hear them get more and more frustrated. And then when they made it 5-4, they're like, "All right, here we go. We got plenty of time to get on the Ducks." And then they're like, there goes a chance. You can't do that. It was hilarious to hear their reactions, but these are commentators just like most of the NHL that we talked about on
Yep.
the podcast, where nobody's giving this team credit. The Ducks are having to earn it all back, the respect. And if they keep playing like this, or showing the fact that they could score at will, that they're young, they're fast, they're going to try to outskate you, it's going to get around the league, and they won't surprise people, but people will start circling them on the schedule because they're gonna be like, damn it, we got to deal with the Ducks.
Yeah.
They're coming. So
And it's true. It's 100% true. The Ducks are not going to be a pushover. That's not Joe Quenneville's style. Again, down to nothing. They could have packed up and said, okay, first game of the road trip, we'll call it a day, we'll move on, and we'll be fine. And even at the end of the game, when Nestorenko got tripped up and there was less than a minute and a half or a minute and 15 seconds left, whatever it was, and the Ducks go on a power play, you think the Ducks are just going to have the man advantage, win the faceoff, and just cruise the puck around the ice and whittle the clock down. They were burying shot after
yes,
shot after shot. They were like, more, 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 more. Are you not entertained? Like it was one of those games. And that was absolutely perfect at the end of the day. And I think Jesus makes a good comment here. I'll post it up here. Is that Dostal is not facing 40 shots a night. It's not like in years past where you had nights where either he or John Gibson, 45, 47, 50 shots allowed. Only 26 shots on goal tonight for Dallas. So
yeah,
that might factor into he's played a lot, but he's not like struggling.
yeah, he's
in a
not
game.
over it. Yeah, he's not what they say standing on his head out there.
Yep.
Because remember, we were talking about that too. You were like, dude, how many times have they been outshot this year? Not very many. Like
And
I
if
think they've
if we have been, it's close margins like the New Jersey game, 33-30. Tonight,
yeah.
26-25. It's relatively even keel playing on both offensive and defensive side of the puck.
Well, look what killed us last year was time of possession in the opponent's zone was just they were killing us.
Yep.
And then it was shots on goal. They had way too many shots on goal. They were outshot on the nightly. And then also penalty minutes,
Yep.
which if you take out tonight, they've been pretty good
Yep.
without stupid penalties, and that's helped. So
Yep.
man, oh look at that. Ducks now
Yeah.
giving me I like that.
I agree.
Uncle Leo.
Uncle Leo, again, you have a lot of guys that are comparable. We talked in the podcast or when I did the post-game show on Sunday for New Jersey, Demetrio bringing up the point of Seneca feeling like Corey Perry. You got Carlson kind of like a Korea. You can make these interpretations. Cutter Gauthier, you feel like he's got that little snapshot. It reminds me a little bit, even though this isn't a comparable player in Ducks history, that short sniper slap flick of the wrist that Cutter Gauthier has, it feels very Alexander Ovechkin-esque on the power play. That's been Ovechkin's bread and butter his whole career. Like, look, the guy's been in the league for 2 decades plus, whatever it is, and he just picked up his 900th goal the other night. Like, this guy is a figment Hall of Famer in NHL hockey. If Cutter Gauthier can replicate that in a sense, I just see so many comparisons in that category, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing too, right here. What players has shocked you so far with their performance? There's almost the entire team to name in my mind. I mean, like for me, I'll just say unsung because we know how you feel about Carlson.
Yeah.
But unsung for me has been Lacombe on defense, and he's been an awesome defenseman, man. And I love Terry as well. Those besides the kid. Beckett said,
Seneca.
I mean, like, who are yours that you're just blown away by?
Instead of saying surprise, I'll say unsung hero. It's hard because everybody has surprised me. I'm going to go with, I think Ross Johnston has been very good for the Ducks here this year. He went on that little streak on the previous road trip where he was in fights in 4 straight games. He had assists. He was moving the puck really well. So I think as a complementary piece, Ross Johnston definitely opened your eye because coming into the season, I knew Carlson was going to make plays. I knew Gauthier was going to make plays. I knew Terry was going to make plays. I'll put Seneca in that category because 19 years old, you didn't really know what he was going to really contribute to this team. And last but not least, the upplay of veteran Jacob Trouba has been absolutely awesome since we picked him up from New York last year at the trade deadline or a little bit before that. I think he's really helped our defense out in a situation where the Ducks defense, I think, could be their one thing that they want to improve on. And especially with Radko Gudas out, Trouba has stepped up in a much bigger way. So I'll say those to begin with, but there's a lot that could go in that category.
It's funny because McTavish was supposed to be one of those guys that's leading the team, and he's nowhere close. These other guys,
and it's what weird enough is McTavish he's doing the dirty work, even though it's not going on the stat sheet. Yeah. He's in between the numbers. Like he picked up his 3rd goal of the season tonight on the empty netter at the end, but again, he's getting the puck to where it needs to be. He's being that big body presence. He's actually at times over the last 3 or 4 games, he's been in the middle of the scrums.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a shorter stature. Like in the first period, he's getting into it with Dallas, and their tall defenseman who's like 6'6", and McTavish is down here, and it's like, but there's no fear there. So again, you could make a case for everybody on this team from top to bottom, getting the job done. Honestly, it's a team effort.
Is if we keep winning or we keep, we're staying relatively close to the top of that division throughout the year.
We play Stukas?
No, well, yeah, but I mean, like, do we like I know the Broncos have the Orange Crush, but do we have the OC Crush? Is that? I mean, because I'm loving it, bro. Like, again, this is some of the best hockey since we've seen the Paul Kariya, Steve Ruchin days.
Yeah, the Solani gets off Terry era. If this is just the beginning, we're in for a great ride. I'm telling you, if we can be solid for 7 to 10 years, again, are we drinking Kool-Aid a little bit? Still, again,
a little bit.
It's still 13 games, but what's great about this of why we can add a little extra shot into the Kool-Aid container
Mm-hmm.
is they're winning games against damn good hockey clubs.
Yeah.
Dallas, Florida, New Jersey, Detroit. You go up and down this list right now. The only game this year by the Anaheim Ducks that has been, I don't want to say a cheapie, but a team that definitely they should beat was probably the San Jose game and the Nashville game. Out of all of our wins, those are probably the two that I would have automatically, when the schedule dropped, oh yeah, we're winning this. Everything else, Boston, Detroit, Florida, Pittsburgh, Dallas, New Jersey, Florida, twice in a season. These are deep playoff teams here, folks. So if the Ducks are doing it now, I think this is completely the best way. And yes, Jesus, the orange Kool-Aid is better than red Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah,
Don't bum us out. Don't bum us out. We got a pitcher today.
I think Pat Verbeek is really coming through. You know, like
Yeah.
at first when he started to make these moves, everyone's been doubting him, but he clearly, along with the coaching staff and ownership, are all on the same page, and they have
100%.
a vision for this team. And yeah, you know, I love the baseball side of things, but their vision is not close to where the Ducks are. And by the way, I have seen a bit of Shoresy. I just started it from watching the previous rendition of it over there on Hulu. But yes, Letterkenny. By the way, before we no, we've already put it off enough, bro. I need you to sum up the goals so I can play the Ducks horn here. Let's get the 7 goals, man. Screw what Dallas did. We were down 2-0. How did we get rolling, my man?
The new addition, Chris Kreider on the power play, his 8th already as a Duck. And it was his first of 2 tonight. So Chris Kreider, we talk about unsung heroes. We didn't know what we were getting from New York. Was he going to be on the downtrod of his career? Picks up his 8 of the year, 2-1 Dallas. Then first goal horns. There's the first of the goal horns tonight. Then less than about, I don't know, a minute and a half later, Ian Moore, the defenseman, his first NHL goal. Yes. And sidebar, the Kreider goal, Carlson, his 14th assist. Moore assisted by Failing and Nestorenko.
Nestorenko's been good too.
Young kid up the middle. Then you have Dallas getting another goal to make it 3-2. The Ducks end the second period on such a high note. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Hattrick himself, Cutter Gauthier, his 11th, assisted by Alex Killorn. Then, 2 minutes and 58 seconds later, his first of the season on the power play, Olin Zellweger from Seneca and Killorn once again.
The youngsters, baby.
Let's go. So ending the second period, way better than you started the second period, right? You know, down 2-0, a complete just changing of the guard in that case.
180 all the way.
180 all the way, and it becomes a 4-3 contest. Ducks are in the driver's seat. 16 seconds into the third period.
Yeah.
Kreider said, up yours, Dallas. I'm getting my 9th of the year from Hellison and your boy Terry. Good God almighty. Kreider, that's a little bit of his bread and butter. Crash the net, and he'll get probably on average, if he's scoring 20 goals a year, at least 5 to 7 goals, or just, I'm just going to stick the stick out, and it's just going to ricochet off the stick through the 5-hole, and we got a goal.
Yep. And the goals have been coming aplenty off of his stick, dude. If the passes can get to these guys, I'm telling you, they can find the net. I mean, they have some great shot selection when they get the puck inside that zone. It's night and day, bro. I mean, 180, night and day, whatever you want to call it. I'm blown away on how different this squad looks and better from last year.
Dallas got themselves in a power play position, got a goal. It was still 5-4. Anaheim.
It was 6 seconds into it too, man. That was a sucky thing.
Their power play unit, it was probably the best opposing power play unit we have encountered all season long. Without a doubt. Then Uncle Leo, his second of the year.
Dude.
Short-handed goal. The Ducks, again, right after Mikko Rantanen made it 6-5. A couple minutes later, the Ducks get themselves in a little dangerous situation. And with the way Dallas had been playing on the power play, potentially a tie game if they do something right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Carlson basically jumps first and says, no, let's temper expectations. I'm going to quietly and swiftly go in and get the job done, create a play, shorthanded goal from, again, your boy Troy Terry. Like, hell yeah.
Dude. On that play, the goalie was faked out. They had a 3-on-1 rush.
Yep.
Carlson was flanking on the left. I forget who was up the middle, but Terry passed it, and then the player that was in the middle let it go.
Yep.
And the goalie thought, oh, he's going to shoot. And then here's Carlson, wide open net.
Backdoor, baby.
It was pretty.
Dallas would make it a little closer, but the Ducks would cap it off. And I love this empty net goal from the Ducks. It's McTavish's third of the season, assisted by Seneca and Gauthier. They stole the puck. It was 3-on-2. And instead of just trying to shoot it from a far distance and get it over with, it's like, no, I want everybody to get points. I'm going to pass it to you. I'm going to pass it to you. Everybody gets points. It was great. So the Ducks, 7-5.
Wait. Question before they got that 7th goal, Dominic, I got to ask you, why was Dallas pulling the goalie that goddamn early? There was 2.5 minutes left.
Well, they had pulled the goalie before when it was 6-4.
Yeah.
And they got that, the man, even though it wasn't a power play, they just pulled the goaltender. It was like with 3.5 minutes left. So again, Dallas they knew already throughout that game, if we have a man advantage, regardless if it's a power play or pulling the netminder, we're pretty much scoring 60% of the time.
That's pretty interesting.
Odds are they did, and their coach went with the hunch. It worked off for the first time. Second time around, the Ducks tightened up and were able to get down and get that empty netter.
I mean, that's just extremely risky. Like, you see that in the postseason, but you really don't see it too much in the regular season. But now thinking of it, how you just described it, it makes sense, because you're right. Every goal against the Ducks was scored with an odd man advantage. So, it's just a little crazy to see, because I'm used to about, a minute and a half, minute 45, sometimes close to 2 minutes. Never almost like 3 minutes or more. I was like, damn.
Well, there was a game a couple of nights ago. Was it the New Jersey game, or maybe the Detroit game? They pulled the goalie out with like 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it happens. Some teams, again, when you get yourself into those desperate situations, you got to try anything to try to shift a little bit of momentum in your favor. Tonight, luckily, it worked for the Ducks.
But what a feather in the cap, making the freaking Dallas Stars be desperate for once.
Yeah.
And Dominic, before we move on, if you can, hold that thought, because we got to give the fans the official Dominic Lorenz Catella Chronicles 3 stars of the game. Thank you to Mr. Randy Yaz for that intro there. Dominic, I know you've been talking about all the goals. We just previewed that. We probably should have did that first, the 3 stars, but we did it a little backwards. But
this is what happens when we have good post-game shows.
Yeah, good banter, right? And it's fun. So with that being said, my man, what are your 3 stars of the game? Or who are your 3 stars of the game?
There is, again, in the game like this where you score 7 goals, there is a lot of options tonight. With the number 3 star of the game tonight, I think it's easy to go with the man that had a multi-goal performance, and he is essentially clearly making a statement with the Anaheim Ducks, saying, my career is not on a downward spiral. I am here to compete, and I'm here to win. Chris Kreider gets my number 3 star of the game. He started the scoring. He got a tip in. Again, that upfront net presence that creates so much havoc for an opposing goaltender, that is Chris Kreider's game. So give me a little bit of Chris Kreider at the number 3 spot here. At the number 2 spot, again, we could go a lot of ways, but I'm going to give it to the youngster, Leo Carlson. I'm going to go Leo Carlson in the 2 slot tonight. 1 point, 1 assist, 1 shot on goal, over 20 minutes on the ice. And he matches Teemu Solani with 20 points in his first 13 games of the regular season, matching a franchise record, which was set in 95-96 season.
Man,
this dude is just, and he's doing it under the, like, it's not under the radar to us, but he can get multiple goals or multiple assists in a game and make it look so effortless. That's how
absolutely.
His skating ability, his stick handling, everything just seems so pure and effortless. And that's what makes him one of the easiest players to set your eyes on, not just on the Ducks, but in the entire NHL. Call me biased, but it's really a sight to see, honestly, truly. Last but not least, in the top dog seat, we're going to call him back-to-back Cutter Gauthier. A goal, an assist. He was havoc all night, 4 shots on goal, close to 19 minutes on the ice. This dude is in a rhythm. Don't mess with him. This guy is now tied in the NHL for most goals by an individual player with 11, tied with the one and only Sidney Crosby. And he has gotten 4 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, bro. I anytime, like I said, you could put that dude with Ovechkin, Crosby, whoever, or even Ducks legends, you're onto something. And again, man, if he hits 100 points this year, maybe you should be the one in the thong this year.
Whoa. I see you shifting blame here. I see how this works.
Well, I'll push that one on you this time.
I don't know. There might be some people that they might have already, might have lost half their vision, and then it's just going to go gone after that. Boy, I know, like, the most points he's had, could he get between 60 and 80? Well, we're not even an eighth of the way through, and he's at 20 points. So let's multiply. He's looking at an over 150 point season if he keeps his pace right now, right? It's nuts.
Yeah.
But I think 60 to 80 points is completely in reach. 80 plus on this pace is completely reachable. Can he get to 100? We'll check the pace. We'll probably have that conversation more late December, flipping the calendar to January, because again, there's only 4 games in the month of February due to the 2-week Olympic break off period.
Yeah.
And the Ducks have a lot of games jammed in November and December. So by New Year's Day, the Ducks are going to have a lot of games on paper to roll with at this point. And to clear up the 3 stars of the game, I would give 3 honorable mentions in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Killorn, Terry, and McTavish. Killorn and Terry both had 2 assists apiece, moved the puck really well. And McTavish, gritty, and gets the empty net goal. Those are my honorable mentions tonight.
I love it. Great 3 stars of the game, brought to you in part by Catella Chronicles and 714 Tickets, where you can go to hockey games, you can go to anything you want to watch, concert, whatever, because the price you see is the price you get. They have the best prices in town. Don't let the Ticketmaster give you service charges or SeatGeek give you high-ass taxes. No, you don't get taxes. You don't get fees. And best of all, if you use HITI, which stands for Halos in the Infield, just abbreviated, in the Apply Now code, you get 10% off plus. So you got to love that when you want to go see your Ducks, Kings, or whatever you want to see. Even if Taylor Swift were to come back here, you could Swifty it up.
Oh, God.
For tickets. But, man, I'm telling you, and to play off of one last note, going into the end of the show here, I got to say, my man, if they are playing this good or close to it in the next 15 games and you're seeing unsung heroes, a new star every night, that kind of play moving forward and the goaltending tightening up, I'm going to be honking my honk, man. I'm gonna blowing my duck whistle because this team is exciting through 13, but you give me another 13 to 15 games like this, and Dom, I'm going to be fighting anyone that says the Ducks suck.
Well, no, and I'm sitting here looking at league-wide stats right now. League-wide stats, not individual players. Well, I can. Leo Carlsson is tied for 3rd in the NHL with 20 points this year. Number 1 in the NHL, you have a multi-tie with Celebrini of San Jose and Connor McDavid, who have 21. But Leo Carlsson right now is up with the likes of Nathan McKinnon from Colorado with 20 points, Mark Sheffley from Winnipeg, who the Ducks will see on Sunday, Mikko Rantanen with Dallas, who the Ducks just beat, and William Nylander from Toronto. So Leo Carlsson is right in that mix of really good players here this year, doing a little bit of everything. Then you want to break it down a little more as a team. The Ducks are tied with the Pittsburgh Penguins with 54 goals this season.
Wow.
Second place is the Toronto Maple Leafs with 52. The Ducks are the only team in the Western Conference to have 51 or more goals this year. The next Western Conference team is a team they're going to see next Tuesday, Colorado, who has 50. So offensively, crushing it. Shall we go down more a little bit? No, we're not going to look at the goals against because the Ducks have given up some big games. So we won't throw the goaltenders under the bus. But power play unit. So far, the Ducks ranking 11th in the NHL with a 22.2% on the power play. Again, let's fairly compare. Dallas tonight, the opponent, third in the NHL at 34%. Pittsburgh is number one. Ducks beat Pittsburgh at the home opener. Ducks are beating these teams that have more and more stats that are better than them. You now go to the division where Vegas is tied with Tampa Bay right now, 2-2 after 2. The Kings are losing at this moment. I forget who they're playing at this point, of Florida, 3-2.
Yeah.
And
King Joe has that up there.
Yeah, Mr. King Joe, Halo Joe. And you sit there and you say, okay, the Ducks are at 19 points. Another night they're going to rest in first place no matter what happens with Vegas. The Ducks have the most wins in the Pacific Division with 9. Fantastic. Let's look at the whole Western Conference. Well, with this win tonight, the Ducks just jumped from 7th in the Western Conference to 2nd in the entire Western Conference, 2 points behind Colorado. Okay?
It's amazing, dude.
Like, this is amazing. Then, one step further, league-wide standings. The Ducks jumped from 8th to 5th. The 4 teams above them, Colorado, best in hockey at 21 points. They play on Tuesday. Second place, New Jersey, kick their ass on Sunday. Montreal, have not seen them yet. I don't think we see them until after the new year. Then, right above us by 1 point, Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about this season so far. The Ducks have started so strong against strong opponents. They are not beating right now or have played the bottom barrel teams with the exception of San Jose. They have not played Calgary, who's dead last in the league, 4-9-2. Then St. Louis, haven't seen them yet. Minnesota, we see in a week and a half. We've played San Jose. We beat Florida twice. We beat Nashville. That's it. Everybody else in the middle, we've sort of played. We're playing top dog teams in the NHL. And in some way, shape, or form, we're getting our job done and we're busting through these opposing teams.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hockey left to be played, but right now, matching up all those stats, that's what's going on. That they're playing who's in front of them, whether good or bad, and I'm loving it, man. I'm hoping the pace can continue because each game is a fun watch, man. Again, if you've watched the last 3 seasons of Ducks hockey, it could put you to sleep sometimes how they would play and how disinterested or how maybe some nights they'd show up, most nights they wouldn't. It's just been fantastic how they're playing, man.
It has been, and just knowing how depthy this month and December are, right? Just looking at piece by piece. 4 of the next 5 games are on the road. And again, we're talking quality teams: Vegas, Winnipeg, Colorado, Detroit, and then Minnesota would be the quote unquote easiest game based on record so far this year. But again, it's too early in the season to take anybody for granted. It's always too early. We talked about on the podcast, if the Ducks, especially over the next week until we do the next recap in a week, if the Ducks could somehow, and this included the Tuesday game against Florida, tonight against Dallas, up until that Utah game, which would be the first game of the 6-game homestand. That's a grand total of 8 games. Best case scenario for me, I think I said 4-2-2, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But that was best case scenario. Or like, if we could do that, anything more than that is gravy. 2-0 in this 8-game stretch up until Monday the 17th.
It can happen.
If you can get the pity point, bare minimum a pity point against Vegas, I consider that a massive win because you know that as a team you're competing with in your division. And if we play this well all season long, toe-to-toe when it comes to playoff seeding. So any pity point is good in that point. And that building is a rough building for the Ducks to have played in. It's going to be loud. It's going to be ruckusy. They're going to have their number one net minor in. And but to be on a 5-game winning streak, you're going to be amped to get to Vegas and get to that game.
Yeah, this is going to be a momentum builder, and they're going to be already coming in on a high note as well. So
yeah, and Vegas and Vegas just to finish that thought for future perspectives in that sense. Vegas, again, playing Tampa Bay tonight. They're in the midst of a 6-game homestand. Ducks are game 4 of a 6-game homestand. So they're not traveling. Ducks are the ones coming in. Vegas started off their homestand losing to Colorado 4-2, beating Detroit 1-0, and right now it's 2-2 against Tampa. So right now, the Ducks have an opportunity to go into a house that has not been kind to them since Vegas's expansion creation.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of a homestand for the opposing team that features all East Coast teams with the exception of Colorado, who they lost to, the only division team that Vegas is going to face during this homestand, and basically say, we don't fuck around anymore. You have fucked around and found out enough, and we are here. Again, even if the Ducks get 0 points out of that game, if they can play quality hockey, I'm still going to be impressed no matter what.
Absolutely. I mean, because it's just like when they lost to Carolina. Yeah, it sucks losing, but you played your best hockey. You know, they got 2 goals late in the third, but they played man to man and man up with the Carolina Hurricanes. So you can't look at that one as a bad loss. It's a momentum builder and it's a confidence builder, if anything. Yep. So real quick, we got a question on Instagram. When do you think McQueen is going to play?
McQueen will not be with us this season after the Ducks drafted him and all the pomp and circumstance with Lightning McQueen, Roger McQueen, all that fun. Like the PR once he becomes a Duck full-time is going to be nuts. At that point, I wouldn't be shocked if Disney comes back in full-time being a sponsor. They are now, but like even more. But he went to college because he's on loan. And again, for those that are not as familiar with hockey in comparison to baseball, you know, when you're drafted in MLB and you sign that contract, it's the ACL, the minor leagues, and that's it. There is no, I'm going to go play here, but still have credit. Like, no, you know, who is it for the Angels? Kyron Paris, for example. It's winter ball. He's playing in Mexico right now for winter ball season. That is off season time. You're your own man. When it comes to hockey, you have the OHL, the WHL, all the Canadian type leagues that those teams can purchase players on loan from NHL teams. Again, the minor leaguers to get work in and thrive their franchise. So the Ducks are in a situation with Roger McQueen, knowing that how young he was and how much of development that he'll probably need still. He went to, I want to say, was it UMass? Let me look. Providence. He went to Providence College, one of the premier hockey programs. So he is currently a college hockey player. However, he is still a Ducks product. It's not like, he didn't sign with the Ducks. He went back to college. He goes back into the MLB draft. No, he is an Anaheim Duck. His contract is with the Ducks. He is just on loan at the collegiate level right now to get more time, more playing ability. Again, 19 years old. He just turned 19 at the beginning of October. Plenty of time. I could see him. Again, the litmus test for Roger McQueen is going to be Beckett Seneca. 19 years old this year, didn't know if he was going to make the roster or not, and he's going to be with us now. I think if McQueen stays healthy, plays a good season in Providence, has a good offseason, I could see him being on this team next year. No doubt about it.
Could be too. It just all depends if we add any veterans or any kind of players like that, because if we go young again, he could get that shot. But if you get established players, you don't want to sit a guy like that. You want him to glisten another year down in the minors or get more experience either way. So,
Of course, and he's a guy so far, looking at his numbers so far, up at Providence for college. In his last 10 games, he's played in 7 of those 10 games. No goals, but he has picked up 4 assists. So 4 assists at a 7-game period. I'll take that from a 19-year-old college kid any day.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He'll be good. And we can't wait to see him up here. But let him get his ice hockey legs under him, and he'll be good.
Yep. The reps will come in.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, as I was chewing on ice, the Ducks get the win tonight, 7-5, another 7-goal scoring game, 9-3-1. You now have 19 points. You already went over the standings, 4th best or 5th best in all of hockey. Man, oh man, it's a good time to be a Ducks fan. We'll see you back here on the next Ducks hockey game for post-game show. Yes, for reaction Saturday evening. Hopefully after yet again another Ducks win, but it's gonna be a tough one.
It's gonna be I think that, to me, tonight was it the cleanest game as we talked about? No.
Mm-mm.
I still think as a whole well-rounded game this year, Tuesday's game against Florida was the most well-rounded the Ducks have played. Tonight was a good feather in your cap to beat another quality team. Definitely a top 5 game this year, but everything in a way has built up to this moment. You're going into Vegas on Saturday night, the front end of a back-to-back against 2 really good teams. Vegas on Saturday, Winnipeg at home on Sunday. This is what we're made of here. Joe Q is going to have these guys ready to go. I don't know if they're flying from Dallas to Vegas tonight to relax tomorrow in Vegas or spend the night in Dallas and whatever the case may be. But being on these road trips this early on the season, getting these huge wins is bonding this team together even stronger. So I know we all hate the Ducks being on the road early in October, November. I really do believe in this case scenario is the best thing for the Anaheim Ducks.
I agree. So for Todd Fox and Catella Chronicles' own Dominique Lorenz, Ducks fly together, right? I'm trying to think of a good saying.
Let's go, Ducks. Ducks fly together, baby. Let's go.
There you go.